Paul recognizes that faith is a shared journey, where we all have something to contribute and something to learn. Then Paul gets to the main point of his letter, the central theme that will guide everything he's going to say. In Romans 1:16-17, he makes a powerful statement. "For I am not ashamed of the gospel, because it is the power of God that brings salvation to everyone who believes, first to the Jew, then to the Gentile. For in the gospel the righteousness of God is revealed, a righteousness that is by faith from first to last, just as it is written, 'The righteous will live by faith.'" These words are the heart of the entire letter. Paul is saying that the gospel, the good news about Jesus, isn't just a beautiful idea or an interesting philosophy. It is the power of God in action, capable of saving anyone who believes in it, no matter who they are or where they come from. And this salvation isn't based on our efforts or how good we are, but on faith, on completely trusting God. Paul is setting up the theme he will develop throughout the whole letter: how we can have a right relationship with God through faith in Jesus. But why do we need to be saved? Paul begins to explain this in Romans 1:18. "The wrath of God is being revealed from heaven against all the godlessness and wickedness of people who suppress the truth by their wickedness." These words may seem harsh at first glance, but Paul is starting to paint a realistic picture of the human condition. He is saying that God is not indifferent to the evil and injustice in the world. God cares deeply about what happens on earth and how we treat each other. When Paul speaks of the wrath of God, he's not referring to a vengeful or cruel God, but to a God who loves so deeply that he cannot remain passive in the face of the evil that destroys his creation. Paul is inviting us to honestly look at ourselves and the world around us, recognizing that something is deeply wrong and that we need help. Paul goes on to explain that everyone can see that God exists just by looking at the world around us. In Romans 1:20 he says, "For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse." Paul argues that the very existence of the universe, with all its beauty and complexity, points to a creator. He believes that deep down, we all have an awareness of God's existence. The problem, according to Paul, isn't a lack of evidence, but our choice to ignore that evidence. It's as if we are suppressing a truth that we know is there. This is a challenging statement, one that invites us to reflect on our own beliefs and choices. In Romans 1:21-23, Paul describes what happens when people ignore God.